All right, everybody, welcome back to the Bro Stop Yelling podcast. I'm your host, Ammo. We're joined by Ant over here to my left. Nice.
You're my bad.
All right, so that's Ant. We also got Kenny over here on the bottom right.
Oh,
Kenny, go ahead.
yo, come
Go ahead.
on.
Introduce
I did
yourself.
not
'cause
know.
Oh,
that's
it's
the
East
name.
Carolina,
I
baby.
didn't know you were gonna say. I thought you were gonna say something else for a second. I'm like,
No, bro, you
that's
get
it.
no introduction. That's it.
Bro, you have
Just
no introduction
Colts.
to yourself. That's it.
left.
Hello.
Just
That's it. Okay.
that's
What
cold
the
as
hell?
fuck right
Gonna
there.
whack-
Welcome
Jesus
back.
Christ.
Welcome back.
Yeah, y'all ever been in that situation where somebody's recording a video, but you think it's a picture? That's what he looked
Yeah,
like.
that was
like
me.
the post.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Shit. All
All
right,
right,
so
well,
yeah.
And what up, y'all? I don't even need no introduction. What up, y'all? It's Dre.
Hey.
The kid _24. That's THAKYD. Let's get into it, man.
The man that needs no introduction gives us 3 different names, so you know who he is.
Nah, I'm introducing myself again. You ain't skipping me.
All right,
It's just
so
the 203. Anthony, you're Eagles fan, baby. Let's go.
Oh,
6-1.
all right, so now that we got that out of the way, we're gonna start the show off here with a little bit of controversy. So we
Let's
had a
go.
game, a pretty high-scoring game between 2 AFC opponents, the Indianapolis Colts and the Cleveland Browns. So comes down to the final drive of the game. It was a throw to a wide receiver deep in the end zone, uncatchable, way over his head. Victor Wembanyama was not going to catch that ball, and they threw DPI out there, and that set up the Browns. And then later on, defensive holding on a play where they force a fumble on PJ Walker with a clear recovery by the Colts. So Colts fans feel a little bit like they were hosed. We're going to go around the room and offer our opinions on what we thought about that outcome, what we think should be done about it, if anything should be done about it. So we're going to start off with Ant, see what he has to say about it.
I think the biggest takeaway is what we were kind of talking in the pre-lobby is that, the refs are 9-0 this year. The refs are kind of taking control of a lot of these games where I think that instead of like actually gameplay being the reason why people are winning and losing, it's actually some petty calls where in reality, Colts win that game. Those 2 calls allowed Cleveland to win. You know what I mean? Like those, or stay in the lead and hold on to the victory. Like the Colts should have been right there for the dub. You know what I mean? Obviously they were down 4, so they couldn't kick a field goal, but they were right there for the dub. So I think the refs are kind of ruining the game.
Do you think that anything should be done about this, or do you have any solutions towards what you think could remedy things from this happening in the future? So if you got anything.
Not really. I mean, nothing that's going to ever be put into play. I mean, you're going to have you unfortunately these refs are human, so they're going to see things that they see, they're going to call things that they call, and I don't think there's ever a way that you're going to be able to dictate and tell somebody how to call a game unless it's like every bad call you're going to fire somebody, which if you do that, you'd have no refs. So there's really no unless you're going to do like a 3 to 5 strike count, and if you get 3 terrible calls, you're done. If you get 5 suspect calls, you're done. If you get 7 calls, you're done. You know what I mean? If there was like some type of breakdown like that,
suspension like players would, like something like that's reviewable or something like their association, whatever.
Yeah, that's something that could. Yeah, that's probably the best bet is that you'd have to be into something like that where you're suspended or or there's a tier where if you make that many calls, you're reprimanded for just like any other job, right? Just like anything else. You can't just continuously make mistakes and just get off skate free. So
Well,
I'll
I
let
think
it go to
they do
Kenny
have
or whoever
something
next.
kind of like that in place. I think refs that don't have a very good track record get bounced out of like playoff consideration, which is obviously more money to ref in those games. And I think that's kind of what they have implemented now as a punishment.
And honestly, chill with all that suspending refs talk, man, because you suspend refs, that means you need more refs to fill in. And we all seen the replacement ref era. I do not want to go back to
Right.
that. So
Damn it.
I'd rather,
Right.
the system that AMO has in place, I think, keeps the refs on the field, gets them incentive to be better at their jobs, but don't go suspend the refs because I don't want to see what the replacements look like.
Yeah,
fair point.
Well, that's what's already in place, though. That's already what's in place, and it ain't working. So,
yeah. Well, my thing, I guess, is these refs are part-time employees. They have to get regular jobs throughout the year, and then they catch a flight on the weekend to wherever they're told they got to go. So I have a ref that actually comes into my job, and I've talked to him a couple times and stuff like that. Since he's from Tampa and is a Bucks fan, he can never ref any of their games, so he gets to fly out of town all the time for different games. But yeah, it's I think that they need to make them full-time employees, pay them better, actually fully implement them into the league, get them better training. If their sole purpose is to ref these games on the weekends, it's not a side job. It's not what's really paying their bills, There's more incentive for them to be better than, I don't know. I think there's ways that they could go about setting them up better with a better situation that could impact the play on the field versus actually suspending them. Like I heard some Colts fans talking about fining refs, and I'm like, bro, these are regular people. It's like, let's say you work at a restaurant.
wait, what do you think a ref makes?
Nowhere near, like,
I'm not talking about
Finable
nowhere
salary.
near a player. No. I'm asking
Yeah.
how much do you think a ref makes? Because you also got to understand they're working 16 weeks out of the year. They're working half of the year. So what do you think? If I told you 120,000, you think that's high or you think that's there? Because 120,000 plus having everything paid for you for travel and food compensation for us, that's good money. So I don't want to hear that they need a side job. This should be your job. If the NFL's paying you 120, 100,000, and they're comping you bill, hotels,
Travel and
which they are. No, come on, 100,000, 120, which I could easily see them making. There's no need for a side job. I don't want to hear about you can't find them. These people.
Wait, did you make that?
Bare
Did you look
minimum
that up?
and
Is that
fine
what
them.
they make?
I don't know. I would assume they have to make somewhere. I don't assume a ref cannot make.
You made a
less
whole
than
point
that.
off an imaginary number?
Do you know how much they make?
I have no
To be
idea.
mad,
But
or at least. Oh, okay.
well,
Hold
shit,
on, let me
let's
check.
fucking look it up.
I'm gonna check.
Jamie, pull it up.
Let's get the research
Right.
team going here.
Oh man, when we all
But that is a
into
good
it.
point,
NFL
though, depending on
referee-
how much they
All right,
get
hold on.
paid.
However, starting in 2019, the average NFL salary, NFL referee salary was set.
it's
at
a part-time job, so they
$205,000.
don't get benefits. That's why they have to get another job so they can get benefits.
They
Fuck
make
the
almost
benefits. You get
$200,000.
You get
a year.
$205,000 per year. Fuck out of here with your benefits, bro.
The fuck do I need a
Oh yeah.
blue pill
All right. Yeah.
for?
See. Yeah.
Yeah,
Nah,
you're stretching, bro. You're reaching.
Nah, they better be.
You're
they
reaching
better
for
be dead.
benefits.
The
and
NFL does not
healthcare.
release
better be
salary
dead.
figures
The
for
NFL doesn't
referees.
give them dental,
The
bro. They
NFL
don't
does
give
not
them
release the
dental.
salary figures for the referees. So these are people guessing.
Yeah, well, if they're guessing at 200s, they're not making
It says on the
much
average.
less than that.
Whoa. Just because, hold on. And there's a flaw in that. Just because the NFL isn't releasing it doesn't mean that these people are guessing. There's other ways to find that information. You know that.
Yeah.
That's a
Facts.
glass door away.
So regardless, just because these guys have just because these refs have an alcohol addiction doesn't mean that they need to be making. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like the fuck out of here.
Yikes.
I can't see, bro.
Yeah. Like,
Besides that,
Yeah.
listen, what I was saying is I heard some Colts fans saying that these refs should be fined for making these calls. And I'm like, bro, say you work at a restaurant, you forget somebody's ranch. Imagine you get fined. No, bro, you got to give me $5 for that.
Is forgetting somebody's ranch going to blow somebody's parlay? Is that going to affect, real wins and losses
if
here? Like,
anything,
come on,
it's
there's a
less
lot more
calories.
money at stake than forgetting some
That's
ranch dressing now,
gambling.
like.
That's gambling, bro.
No, that's diabetes avoidance.
wait,
But
Again,
wait, hold on, time out.
it's
Not
not
to be on
just the
that
league,
petty-
right? It's the outrage of like public opinion here.
Right, and not to be petty on because we're not talking about ranch here, okay? If you came and said, let's just say it was me, not even gonna use anyone else, me. It was my 17th time fucking up a fucking order that Kenny comes in for, and he orders fucking spicy buffalo, and I give him fucking honey barbecue, and it's like, Aunt, how many orders?
Yeah,
are you
no, if
gonna
you've
fuck
done
up?
it that many
You're
times,
fired.
then you're fired. Then like, yeah, if you're somebody that is that consistently bad, you're probably not going to be
They
getting
are
big
consistently that bad.
See, I think
refs
How
as
many
a general,
calls-
but not a. You have to find a specific
say?
crew
Wait,
or a
hold on. What'd you say,
specific
Dre? My
ref
bad.
that is that consistently bad. The refs in general being bad, it's not always the same ref, so
Yeah,
you can't really build a
think
case
it's-
against one specific individual unless there is one. Then they've probably already worked themselves out of playing anyway or getting games anyway.
And that was kind of my point, right? It's bigger than just any individual ref, because in a situation like that, right, like these missed calls or calls that phantom calls, we'll call them, they were egregious. Like that ball damn near hit the fucking backstop of the stands, bro. It was like a one hopper
yeah.
and then hit that.
The
wasn't
holding
good
call wasn't
And
as bad. Like there was definitely,
It's like,
or
but hold on.
the illegal
You think, like, somebody has to
contact
load it.
It was
wasn't as
illegal
bad.
contact. And that was bad, bro. Like the receiver broke off the stem of his route and created the contact with the defender, who in a way was almost trying to avoid the offensive player. Like that, you see that play. Literally, that play happened 20 other times that game and went on without a call. So why do you call it in that moment? Like that's, to me, those are two egregious calls, especially because of how it
That one
impacted
wasn't
the
so
game
egregious for me.
in which way. Again,
Not like it was like a
maybe
bump or
one,
something.
any one
but without-
individually is one
But
thing,
without
two
that
of those
DPI
bad
call,
calls,
that fucking
and you
illegal
guys
contact
don't
play doesn't even
conference.
happen.
There's no discussion about, hey, we just fucked up. Like maybe we should think twice about this call or take another look
Right.
at it. Or and then to your point, like what can be done about the situation? We have eyes in the sky, right? They have the accelerated review now where you don't have to go and look at the monitor anymore to be like,
We've done
should
this
probably
before.
overturn
It
that
doesn't
call.
work.
If
And
it's
the
obvious.
fines.
But in a
Wait, the
situation like
fines don't
that,
have to be
but in a
20
situation
grand
like
like an
that,
NFL
though,
player.
in a
It
situation
doesn't work
like
because
that,
they don't
in a
overturn it.
situation
What's
like
the
that,
point?
it's obviously an uncatchable ball, right? It's obviously an uncatchable
Bro,
ball.
when they made pass
Anybody
interference,
looking at that can see that.
They made pass interference reviewable before, and there were egregious ones that they would not overturn.
Well,
they implemented
again,
it.
see, you're missing my point. Again, we're talking over. You're missing my point because my point is having that third party eye in the sky with that helps with the accelerated reviews, right? Because if you ask somebody to look at their own call, of course I'm gonna be like, no, I called that shit. I'm sticking with my call. Like you could be petty about it to a degree. Right. But now if you have a third party come in and be like, we should not, that's obviously no. Like again, you keep the refs with their judgment, right? So you don't just go overturning all of their calls. But the more obvious ones, like a coach should be able to challenge maybe a call, right? Maybe have that as a challenge and have that third party look at it and say, hey, like if this is obvious, all right, we have to do something about it. Like to your point, that illegal contact, that probably wouldn't be overturned. But that fucking defensive pass interference would absolutely be overturned if you take any second look at it, bro. Like, and again,
absolutely.
like it's
But,
not about.
But they had ones that were just as bad when they made it
bro.
reviewable.
That shit matters.
They had ones that were just as bad that were reviewable that year that they did it, and they did not overturn it. So my thing is like,
you have the same people reviewing their own call. Of course, they're going to stick with it.
but
It's
that
a
doesn't.
pride thing.
So what do you? Oh, your audio went out, Ammo.
Have them people telling them like, bro, you can't be
Michael
that
Bay done
ridiculous.
fucked up.
Like, no, it just doesn't work. If it worked, I'd be for it, but it doesn't. So I'm just like, why are we gonna bother?
But we haven't seen it in
tried
this
it
form
before.
that I just described. Like, so it'd be different. Like, if you have a third party weighing in who's an unbiased party in that situation, then yeah, I think giving that a try is something they haven't done and something I think would be effective.
Who would have like?
Are we
the,
sure that the pass
Trump call
interference
with it?
was being reviewed by people on the field?
I mean,
Yes,
I
it
imagine
was.
they're the ones
Are we
that threw
sure
the
on that?
flag.
But
They
you
have-
can't overturn it. So
Right.
once that call is called, that's it. There should have been a conference of the refs before that, a long discussion, and somebody within that little group of zebras should have been like, he couldn't have caught that.
Somebody should have seen that.
So
ball
that's why it's
way
bigger than
too
any
high.
one ref. Like, of course,
Right.
maybe from the one who threw the
It's a
flag,
collective
maybe from his
failure.
look like a PI because he's just looking at the contact. But somebody
Right.
else should be like, hey, like, did you see where that ball went? It wasn't catchable.
Yeah, but I mean, we're also. I mean, do we want to go back to the Super Bowl? I mean, because Juju's was uncatchable, and we got a holding call, and that decided the Super Bowl. It literally decided the Super Bowl. So, I mean, do you guys really want to go on every? I mean, we can go
Dennis
back,
caught it.
and that's where I think, like, I think that maybe if you do find the refs, maybe they do clean it up. Maybe they do fucking start paying attention
Yeah,
to
like,
detail.
what is
Maybe
a
they do
good
stop making
Reprimand
because
or
no,
referee.
like, yeah, but we're not talking $100,000 when they only make
Right.
200, right? Okay, we got to bring the scale down, but at the
Right,
same
of course.
time, the NFL doesn't they don't change the helmet to helmet fine if you make 16,000 as the top DB or if you're making player minimum at fucking $500,000. So I don't want to hear about not finding a ref. I don't care if you had to charge them $5K. Fuck them. Charge them
you
$5K
can't
if
I
find
don't
the
they're going
agree
to
with finding
continue to
refs.
make terrible
I'll never.
plays.
You can't.
I'll never
you
agree
can't.
with
You
that.
can't find the refs.
I'll
You
never
can't find
agree
the
with
refs.
that.
Okay.
What other
Okay.
line of work do
If
you
you don't,
get
if you can't find the
financial
refs,
penalties
if you
for
Yeah.
making a mistake? It's not a thing.
NFL, the NFL. What are you talking
No,
about?
that's if you break the rule. That's different. That's if you break a
That's
rule.
if you make
right?
a mistake. Sometimes you accidentally make a mistake. What do you mean, bro? They fine players for celebrating. What are we talking about? They fine
It-
people for celebrating. Is that breaking the rules?
Well, they're
But
breaking
they've
the rule.
told
Yes.
people.
Celebrating is no. Celebrating is legal.
They've been told what will break. No, they've been told what will break the rules with celebrating.
Excessive celebration
certain ones.
is
Yeah,
excessive
you could
celebration
pump 2
is
times.
a fine.
If you pump 3 times, it's a flag. Like
Right.
the
So, but
rules are there.
excessive
All things
celebration,
to limitation. Yeah.
excessive
Like you
celebration
can't use any
is
props.
also
So if you go
opinion.
into the crowd and
I
grab
can-
a phone
I
and
can
take a
also-
selfie,
Right. But I can think that you're.
Look at you,
I
Mr.
can
Hill. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I won't be able to finish here.
Oh,
But
I'm sorry.
if I think that your fucking celebration is excessive, but Kenny doesn't think it is,
Right.
and there's no fine, but I threw the excessive flag, there's a fine, but he didn't, so there's no fine. So there is discretion like that. Like, bro, like they throw a flag on something like that, and then all of a sudden you're getting fined. If they don't throw the flag, you don't get fined. It's just, yeah, the 2 pumps, I understand that the third one is a thing, but all of a sudden, because X, Y, Z, like you're stretching a little bit on because they throw a flag and fine people all the time. Like I think
Yeah, but the NFL is also different because they want to have their players play more often. Because if they don't find the players, because you're saying like, this is one of the ones where they fine people in their line of work for making mistakes.
Right.
They have to do it that way because if they suspend their players for every little thing that they fine people for,
All right.
they'd have people out every
you want to
single
break
week.
it down.
They would not have a product that they would.
the job I work
So they
for,
have to do it in a
suspended
different way
someone
with
that does
players.
our
Like
whole shipping line.
they're also playing a sport. We're going to work. Everybody else is going to work and doing something. They're playing a sport.
Yeah, and someone
a
made a
little bit
mistake at my job, and they got suspended for 5 days from the union.
You can get
Right.
suspended.
So
I
you
would
want
be
to fine
fine
them or you
with
want to suspend
suspending
them?
a ref. I'm
It's
not
roughly-
okay with
Okay, so
fining a
that's-
ref.
I
I
see your
just
point
will
in
never
that,
agree
because
with.
the suspension
Okay,
is
so
a
then
fine
what point?
in a way because
what-
you're not getting
So
money.
then what point?
I get
Right.
your
So then
point
what
there.
point do you fine them, or do you never fine them? So they could do this 12 times, and you would
Ne-
never.
I would
fine
never
them, bro?
fine a ref. There's
Okay, that's
no
crazy,
there's-
bro. That's
un-
all right. All right. Never
unless
mind. But no, we're
unless
not going to agree
unless
with
they
that.
were
So it doesn't
convicted.
matter, but I just think that's
No,
crazy.
listen, hold
Like
on.
if
Bro,
you're going to
stop
do
yelling.
in the
I
NFL,
would never-
no one's yelling.
Huh?
But
Listen, the only time that I would the only time that I would ever fine a ref is if they were caught gambling on games that they were reffing. Then you go fine them however you want, ban them from the league.
okay,
But I will never
that's
agree
fine.
with
That's
fining
your
a ref
opinion.
just
I
for
think
making a
that
simple
you-
mistake on a field. No.
Should
Yeah, again,
referees be
define
able to
define
bet?
simple mistake. I mean, a
Period.
simple mistake is also not. I mean,
No,
you're
refs should never
costing.
be able to bet in any capacity.
Like
I
in
think
any
that
game.
whoever didn't throw a flag on that game in the Saints, where who was it? Roby. No, my God, Roby Coleman stuck in my head. The one that they were all tight about for the pass interference.
Mm-hmm.
Like right there, that's finable. Like that right there, you don't call pass interference on that play in the playoffs where the Saints had what's his name run, or am I thinking of it vice versa? And it was the Saints DB that hit him. But I'm drawing a blank on who it was. But we ended up picking him up. The Eagles ended up picking him up as a free agent like 2 seasons ago. I just can't think of his name right now.
Saints
I'm drawing
got
a blank.
hosed by the call.
Right. So you don't right. So right there, you don't think that's a blatant reason for either a suspension or a fine?
I said I agree with suspensions. I will never agree with a fine. Is what I said.
Okay. See,
Unless they are
something
gambling.
that egregious, that's something where it's like, yo, if you don't call that right there, that's like watching someone steal from your job and not even saying anything. Nah,
that's
bro.
fireable.
Boom.
That's
fine,
fireable
Fine.
for me. Like that's really bad, but never finable. No.
Right, but who
So
do
you
you
would
fire?
fi- you would
Because there's
fire 'em
multiple
and take
refs
their
on the
job
field
away?
that could
Now-
see that
So you
play
would
and
wait.
throw
So
that-
you would
that-
take their
that
job
flag.
away instead of finding them $1,000
Yes.
and letting them do
Yeah,
their
I
job.
yeah. I think if you make an egregious mistake like that, like losing your job, maybe you shouldn't be a ref, but like you
Because
don't want to open a policy where you're
At
fining
work,
refs.
if you make an egregious mistake, you're fired.
All right. So you guys are literally
don't get fined
here
at
and
work.
Here. So
Right.
there's no in between.
But you get reprimanded in other ways at work.
All right. No. So
Mhm.
all right.
Now,
Like,
That's
now
wild, but
game
okay.
I got to ask you
suspensions,
this:
couple
what
things,
what do
So
you think?
So
And since you agree with finding the player or the refs, what do you think is an agreeable amount to fine a ref for a mistake? Is there tiers? Like, how would you,
3%
if you
Well,
agree with that? Like,
I'm gonna
how would
say
you
right
how would you
now,
go about that?
100%.
of your
Yeah,
game.
I'd rather find somebody than fire them. Y'all are wild. And if you guys think that finding somebody is worse than firing them, that's a whole different conversation. You're literally taking a little bit of money away than taking their entire job away.
Bro,
So
I
that's not
can't
even
let you
a
continue to do
question,
this, bro.
bro.
You're controlling a narrative that doesn't even exist there. You're talking about finding somebody after a mistake. Obviously, if somebody's getting fired, it's not because they made one mistake. It's because of repeated offenses of making mistakes.
This
If
is
you
what I'm
continue to miss
talking about.
crucial calls,
This is what I
maybe you
said
shouldn't
from
be
the
a ref
beginning.
anymore.
Maybe
But like,
maybe you're not listening.
if you
because
make
this is what I said from the
7
beginning.
mistakes, then
I've
you
said that in
decide
the
to fine
beginning.
them
I
at
never
that point.
said
It
your
still
first
doesn't make
call.
sense, bro. So
Okay, so are you
Bro,
listening?
we all
Because I
said we agree with like
said from the
suspensions.
first
We
call.
agree with giving them strikes. Agree with them with like some kind of like rating or ranking system that they have in so many strikes. But we don't agree with finding them along that path to get to the point where.
All right. So am I speaking
that's where we
Chinese? Because
disagree.
I never said finding them right off the bat. What part are
But
you
you're
guys
saying
missing
at
about
some
this?
point after-
Because you just said no, because Dre's agreeing with me
Okay,
at that
and
part
we-
where I said there's a point where you have to get fined, you have to get reprimanded. Yes, you can get talked to for such a point, but then you have to get. I think that there's a point where you can get fined. I never said
At what
that your
point
first
do you
offense
fine them?
is finable.
So when did you say you
In my
these signs
opinion,
start to
third
accumulate?
strike. Third strike, just
Okay,
like
you
any
didn't say
other
that
job,
before.
bro. How
just
many jobs?
So we're
Okay.
clear, but
Okay.
Because you guys,
okay.
you
Third
guys
strike,
took
and
something
how
ran
how
with
much
it
do you
and
get
said
for a
no,
first
and now
time
you
offense?
guys are saying, huh?
First time offense. What are you finding them after they've got to that third strike? What's the?
Okay, so now we're going way deeper because we can go into so many different things here at this point.
Because that
So if
that
you're
gives me a
if
little
you're
more
talking,
context on if I would fine them that amount of dollars. Like if you go and say
If-
like
right,
$500,
so
I'd be
if
like,
we're
"Well, that's not
agreeing-
bad. Like
whoa,
I
whoa,
might
whoa,
agree.
whoa.
Yeah, like I
Are we
might
gonna
agree
be
with like a
able
low amount of
to-
money.
Teams like bust toll.
All right, am I gonna be able to answer or not?
Like you gotta pay like
Jesus,
you have to buy your
Christ,
own
dude.
Yeah,
lunch
let
this
him
week.
answer.
right. You gotta get them to the bridge.
Alright.
You gotta be able to go to Chick-fil-A
Yo.
yourself.
Y'all on some shit tonight, bro.
Okay.
Y'all ain't even letting somebody answer a question before you all just
All
run
right, no,
the whole
I
narrative.
really
Nah,
do want
like,
I really do want to hear this answer though. I really do want to hear this.
nah,
answer.
can you ask the question again? Because I stopped listening to you guys, to be honest.
Okay.
I swear to God, bro. Like,
And-
I'm trying. Yeah, y'all asking
You
a
mad?
question.
After-
Why you
okay,
mad,
okay.
bro?
I'm trying.
I'm not
Why you
mad.
mad?
I'm just
And
trying to answer a
after
question, bro.
you've
I
Jesus
can't argue with you.
after
Not wrong.
after a ref has gotten a third strike and you are now about to fine them for the first time, how much would you fine them?
All
on
right.
that first time?
Before I answer this question, because I know you, if I say fucking $1, you guys are gonna lose your minds because you guys, we haven't. What are we agreeing on their salary? How about we fucking agree with that first?
Okay, if we're saying
That
that
was
is the,
$205,000.
let's use the number that's there. If we use the 200K
205?
as the base for that, yeah, 200K.
Yes.
That's their salary. What are you finding them?
Third strike, $1,000. Like, what's the problem with that? Like, this is what I'm talking about. You guys went on a
that's
whole
not- I
thing
mean,
with
that's
before
not
you
that
guys
bad,
even
but,
let
like, I'm
somebody
still
go
not
off.
finding
Right,
him.
exactly.
Divided by
Right,
17
exactly.
games,
See,
they make
how are you not finding
$12,000
somebody,
in
bro? Somebody that makes
a game.
literally a fraction of that at my job just got suspended because they literally accidentally shipped something incorrectly on someone's account that cost my company $400. $400. They suspended this girl that probably makes about $400 in the entire week. So do the fucking math, bro. Like, you guys are literally like, you're talking about a ref like he's in some high praise when he's working 18 weeks a year, and he can't
That's
be
why
wrong.
I just agree with a.
Like, he could be wrong.
That's just why I agree
And
with
I
a
think he should
suspension.
be
I
fined.
would agree with a third strike and then suspend them because
Okay, so
then you're
suspend
not
him without
taking
pay then.
money that
So
they've
suspend him
already
without
earned.
pay. So then suspend him without
Yeah,
pay. It's the
that's
same
exactly.
thing.
I'm not
You're still
asking for
taking
this.
money out of
I'm
his
not asking
pocket.
for this dude to come out of pocket to pay a fine. Just dock his pay
Okay,
by he's
you're still
suspended for a
taking
game.
money. So then that's
Then
the equal ground.
I'm
It's
never
the
gonna
same
ask him
thing.
to give me money back that
No,
he's
it's
already
not.
earned.
That's literally
the same thing.
It's
Yeah,
you're
exactly.
still you're spending
It's not
money
the
or
same
not
thing.
getting a paycheck.
It has the same end
You're
result,
paying a
but it's
bill or
not
not
the
getting
same
a
process,
paycheck.
and it
It's the
does not
same
have the
thing.
same perspective.
The same
It has the
perspective.
same end result, but it is a very
Correct.
different perspective.
Right. It's
Sure,
a
if
little
you
bit
want to
more
look at it, at
business
the end of the day,
acumen.
you're either not making your weekly paycheck or you're paying it back in a fine. So you know what? If you guys really want to like break it down like that, sure,
And every
there's a
other job
difference.
works that
But
way,
you're
where you get
still
suspended without
you're
pay
still
after
either up
making
or
mistakes.
down.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. So
Enough of
fine or
Right.
suspension is technically in the same way, the same thing if you're losing the same amount of money.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, I don't agree with somebody paying back money they've already earned. That's all I'm saying. That was my
Correct.
point, and I want to agree.
There
with
it
that.
From that
Whatever.
perception, I
That's
see.
fine.
From
Whatever.
So we all end up at the
All
same.
in the same
We all
spot,
up in the same
It's
place.
all even.
Yeah, we just
Yeah,
get there
0-0.
different ways. One guy went left, one guy went right. All right.
It'd have been
Holy
fixed.
shit, we spent 30 minutes on this fucking goddamn game. Nobody cares about the Colts because they're not going anywhere. So
Went a
let's
little
move
deeper.
on. We're
A little deeper.
we went pretty deep there. Pause.
I didn't lose
We're
this
moving
week,
on
so-
to the
Hey,
trade.
Good.
yo.
Moving on to the trade deadline. Dre, do you see anybody getting moved? Do you got anything that you think is definitely going to happen, or you think it's going to be a quiet deadline?
So I don't see anybody getting moved because there really hasn't been a lot of chatter from what I've heard, but there are absolutely a few players that should be moved, in my opinion. Um, Players that come to my mind are Devontae Adams. He needs to get out of Vegas. Saquon needs to get out of New York. I think Derrick Henry needs to get out of Tennessee. I just think those talents could be better used on contending teams. And if I was to look at some of those available players and say, what player do I think can make the biggest impact on a new team? This would never happen, but like Devontae Adams going to the Chiefs would be phenomenal for that team. The Raiders would never trade him to a division foe, but when you talk about just the perfect situations aligning, that comes to mind. Also, I hate to say this, but like the Cowboys need a power running back, and Derrick Henry would look real good for the Cowboys. Obviously, I don't want to see that, but when you looked at the last time that Dak Prescott was at his best, he had a physical running back. So I think the Cowboys should absolutely be on the phone with Tennessee. And then for Saquon, I would say the Buffalo Bills, right? The Buffalo Bills have just been a team with devoid of a running back or a running game, I should say. Cook over there is doing his best, but imagine Josh Allen with a dynamic playmaker like a Saquon Barkley. So those are the players that I think should be on the move and where I think they should go.
Kenny, what do you think happens?
I had to wait to hear what you said. My thoughts. No, I think where the hell did he go? Oh, he's gone again. No, I think those are the big names. I think Drake, you hit them. Those are the big names. I think between Henry was the one I was like the most intrigued about because I still think he has some of the tank, and I think he could potentially be that puts you over type of player. I think he still has that tendency. He still has that skill level. To see him in even I thought of seeing him even in like a Baltimore or like you mentioned Buffalo, but Buffalo was the first thought with Henry. I don't know why it was just like I guess it brought me back to like that Marshawn Lynch mindset of like when he was with the Bills, he was like able to kind of do those. He wasn't great with them, but seeing something with him. And take it a little bit off of Derek where he's not kind of like wearing himself down. But no, Devontae Adams, when you said that, I thought that would be a crazy pick and like to move around or I think he would be like a huge impact. I mean, anywhere obviously, but Kansas City, that's a great place to have him there. I don't really see too many big moves. I know Jeremy Chin for the Panthers just being a homer a little bit, but I know with him going on IR, he's now, obviously no longer getting moved, which I'm happy to have him. Glad he's still a Panther. But yeah, I mean, it could be kind of interesting. I don't think there'll be very many moves. I don't know. I don't see very many.
A sneaky big move, though, I forgot to mention the Eagles getting Byard from the Titans, bro.
I was gonna
nice, strong veteran safety.
Lob that one up for Ant to talk about the trade deadline.
Take it away. Hey. No, that's perfect. Take it away. What would you think about Byard joining you guys?
No, I think it's a huge addition. I think it's everything that we kind of needed right now. I think we need a solid, reliable defensive back, not even just a safety in general. I think we just need a solid defensive back that's going to be back there and whether we bring him down and have him play a little bit more in the box or if we actually keep him back and have him as just our safety and we bring Reed down, however Desai wants to use him because he's kind of brought, he's kind of had a little mixed match of everybody. And I don't really know what his, real goal for safety is going to be because we haven't seen the real two starters out there consistently. So we've kind of been mix and matching and this guy's here, this guy's there. And so hopefully he brings some consistency. now for the rest of the
Potential
NFL.
trades.
Yeah, I see a couple of names that are like prominent that we've seen in the news. Like your Surtans, your Baker, Buda Baker, not Baker Mayfield, Jesus Christ.
I didn't hear
Buda
Surtain
Baker.
possibly getting moved.
Yeah, Jerry Judy,
Where was that?
Cortland Sutton.
Wow.
We've had a lot of names like that. Then they have, Leonard Williams, and obviously your linebacker Brian Burns, Trent Brown, Zach Ertz. I think I said Jerry Judy. We've already talked about Derrick Henry. I've even seen recently Teddy Bridgewater being a potential, which I don't, whatever. I don't really see it, but the weird thing that I would say is how Jerry Jones is saying how he is going to accept calls, but not make the calls. And I heard on a couple spots today, it's like, how many times does somebody say and call you, and say, hey, you're in the market for a wide receiver, and I think we got the perfect guy for you. I mean, very rarely does that happen. Does it happen? Yeah. But it's been probably in negotiations before that. So I think I don't see any big. I don't know if I see any more of these big names moving. I kind of see it staying steady, and I see a little bit more of these underground names that were not talked about in the media, but those are the people that are going to move just like last year. All these big names stayed put, and all the the sneaky like little names. And Christian McCaffrey was kind of talked about, but nobody ever linked him to 49ers. So I think it's going to be sneaky trades like that again.
So, yeah, I know we talked about Derrick Henry. I think Baltimore is I said this like a week ago. I think Baltimore is the right spot because they are a team that is heavily dependent on the run.
Mm-hmm.
So he's the perfect kind of running back to fit that style. Dallas is also another good one.
Where do you think who would benefit more in Baltimore, Devontae or Henry? I've wondered about
Henry.
that when I was having my answer.
I mean,
but
Devontae Adams is the better player right now, but
true. I think if you stack them up against each other, but
Henry helps
Baltimore
the offense
more?
probably.
Yeah. Okay.
Henry is with him and Lamar. I mean, that running back tandem,
it's terrifying.
It would be stupid. And then you add in Zay
there's
Flowers,
there's
Brashad
backups
Perriman,
there to
and
spell
Odell.
Henry too, so he wouldn't even have to get overloaded with snaps, but he would be able to stay fresh and be really good.
And Mark Andrews. Could you imagine when you look at that on paper, bro? You have Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, Mark Andrews, Odell Beckham, Zay Flowers,
which is why I thought I was
Perriman.
like Devontae.
Sounds like a goddamn fantasy team.
It basically, right.
That shit sounds stupid.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
If you had somebody like him in there, I mean,
I saw somewhere on Twitter that the Ravens are interested in Henry, and they're so far been the strongest pursuer of Henry. DeAndre Hopkins would be one that I could see getting moved to because they signed him, and the Titans are definitely punting this season. I think the Chiefs
without a doubt
maybe would be able to pick up something like that because there's obviously no way that the Raiders would ever trade Devontae Adams to the Chiefs. Like we all know that won't happen, even though it would be a great move for the Chiefs to make. But I
hope
think
we're calling somebody.
Bro, it's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen, but at least
here's the thing.
You're an 0-6 team. 0-6 teams are not buying. If anybody is coming in or out of Carolina, they are leaving Carolina. Nobody's coming in until next year in the offseason.
Draft picks are the only thing coming in.
Yes.
Yeah, I was only going to make the point that like the Raiders, obviously they're division foes with the Chiefs, but they're not really competing with the Chiefs, right? Like it's going to be.
But they still don't. But they still don't make that move.
They need to get a quarterback first and foremost, and it's going to be another 4 years before they're good. Devontae will be long gone by then, so
no doubt.
By the time they're ready to compete, it wouldn't be skin off their backs. I think if they get a good haul, they should consider.
It would have to be like a overkill haul for them to do it. But the Jaguars, my Jaguars insider, supposedly said that we've been sniffing around the pass rush market. There was a message that he has here that
come pick up Derek Barnett.
no.
Why not?
No.
What do you mean, guys? Like,
So there's talks about the Jaguars starting their conversations with a 2 and a future 3. So that brings us up into a higher conversation of what pass
Echelon.
rushers of that we could be trading for. So Danielle Hunter
Mack.
is one that we've almost had a deal done with in the offseason to get done. So that one's still one that they're thinking could be what we're going for. Josh Uche from the Patriots is the one that they're kind of thinking is the one that they were talking about in this potential draft trade scenario here. But Chase Young is another one that is one that could be the one that they're talking about in this conversation as well. But any of these guys, most likely you're going to have to trade for and pay when you have Josh Allen having a career year that you also have to pay. So it'll be interesting to see how the Jaguars handle that. But I just saw that on Twitter that the Jaguars have been making some phone calls at this trade deadline. So we'll see what happens there. I do think that the Titans are not done selling. I think maybe the Panthers might do some selling too. They will not be doing any buying. You're going to have to wait till March for that, my friend.
Yeah.
I think the Titans picked up D-Hop for this exact reason.
Yep.
Is to trade him.
Give
Whether
that,
they get a 4th or a 5th,
money.
they literally paid.
It's a free draft pick.
Right.
It's a free
you literally
draft
paid
pick.
X amount of dollars for a draft pick. Yeah.
And if it turned out that they actually were competitive this year, then they got them for whatever, and it was like it was working out.
Exactly.
Shit! It doesn't work out. Guess what? We just got to draft. Yeah, so that's not too bad for them. I can't really fault them for that. I just fault D-Hop for saying that he wanted to play somewhere competitive, saying he wanted to win, and then he signed with the Titans. I'm like, everything that you said you wanted is not existent. It was all a lie. Anybody have any final thoughts on the trade deadline? Anything else we want to? Yeah, I don't think we'll see too many more moves. I think we will see at least something. Not a lot, but there will be something that happens.
I mean, we have until the 31st, so we have a week. We have less than a week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it should be what?
So I think we're gonna. I don't know. I think so. I think besides the Eagles with Bayard, something else as big has got to happen. I don't think that's the biggest one. I can't see that being the biggest trade of this trade deadline. I feel like something else has got to pop, man. Someone that's going to be trying to go like you said with the Chiefs and D-Hop. They got to go for somebody like one of these teams that are looking to be a Super Bowl champ this year. They're looking to be like, we're missing this. We need to make this move to be competitive. I mean, we're talking about Baltimore. We're talking about the Eagles. We're talking about San Francisco, Dallas, Buffalo. I mean, throw Miami in there. Like Miami can do something, right? Like who knows?
Well, they also got Jalen Ramsey coming back, so that's kind of like making a trade.
True. So it's like maybe they don't do anything, but like teams, just like there's teams that are out there besides the Eagles that have to make something happen. That something's gonna pop. And I think
the Jaguars might try and get something done because they know that they got a lot of talent right now and they're not living up to it. And on defense, Josh Allen is getting pressure, but Trayvon Walker is not quite living up to that hype yet. If they could get we're going to replace Trayvon Walker with Derek Barnett. This is the same thing, dude, except worse.
Derek Barnett. Oh, my bad.
Honestly, the only reason I don't see the Jags making a move like that at the trade deadline is I feel like the closer you get to the deadline, that's really the time that those real contending teams, and again, no, this is a serious conversation, like the real teams that feel like I'm a piece away, they get real aggressive for that big name that helps take them over the top, where the Jags are still an ascending team that I don't feel like they're we're one piece away from Super Bowl contention yet. So I just don't see them being as aggressive as some of maybe the other teams in the AFC who know that this is really going to be a tight finish, and I need to do something to separate myself at the top.
Yeah.
Like, think about the Bills situation. They just lost Milano, right? The most important player for them defensively. Like, they're a team that's really probably going to be one of the most desperate at the deadline, if I had to guess.
Yeah, well, the Jaguars in the AFC only have one team with a better record, and that would be the Chiefs.
What's your point?
Trash.
I'm just saying that
It's week
conversation
7.
about how the Jaguars are ascending, blah, blah, blah. They made the playoffs last year, a year before anybody thought that was going to happen. They won a playoff game last year, and then they lost to the eventual Super Bowl champions. Three out of like the last 5 losses that the Jaguars have are like against the Chiefs.
All right. So let me ask you this: from everything that you just said, if I told you today that the Jaguars are getting Chase Young, you're going to tell me that they're a Super Bowl contender?
I think the Jaguars are already a contender to go to the Super Bowl without that.
But not to win it.
No, I'm not saying that. No.
So
I think that the Jaguars could go to the AFC Championship game and play the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game. I don't think that anybody else in the AFC,
especially if it's them bum ass fucking.
They've already beat the Bills. The Bengals aren't the same. The Dolphins are really the only other team that, gives me pause.
We got to change the LA. We got to call them the LA Sparks from here on out, like the fucking WNBA team.
How do the Ravens not give you pause?
The Chargers.
I was going to ask about.
It depends on if they reach there, and Kansas
we
City
always we play Baltimore well.
City,
we
Miami,
play Baltimore well when we play them.
Yeah,
Buffalo. Like how
but also you also don't have to play every team when you get into the playoffs. You play who you play.
They're gonna get if we get the number 2 seed, we really aren't gonna have to worry about Baltimore.
Chargers were whooping y'all ass before.
Bro, that doesn't matter if they lose. Like the Chargers lost because the Jaguars whooped their ass in the second half. Yeah. What do you mean?
All right, okay, but
Justin Herbert is a fraud.
All right, let's regroup, settle down. Y'all quick to be all rah, right? But like the point that I'm trying to make is you sitting up here talking like the Jaguars, there's only one team in the AFC with a better record. Oh my God, I'm not worried about these other teams.
That's a fact.
The Ravens, they don't give me pause. Like, all right, y'all not an invincible team. Y'all haven't done shit, bro. Like
maybe
you guys are in
London all playoffs.
Maybe you're misunderstanding
with the rest of the AFC, bro.
Maybe you're misunderstanding my point then. I'm not saying that we are superiorly better than anybody else in the AFC. I said the Chiefs are the one team that really give me that pause on the way to try to get to the Super Bowl. Everybody else I see as a very much a winnable game. Are we guaranteed to win any of them? No, but those are not games where I'm like, there's no way we can do it. Because
you said one team. I'm not trying to be like a stickler, but I'm stuck on the one team. I'm like, there's like
the Chiefs are the one team that's where we have always really struggled.
Right.
Like you say, the Bills are one of the top teams.
Fair.
We have their number every time we play them. Baltimore, we always play really well. Miami is another team that I did say that they could be one that could be a problem, but depending on how seeding ends up finishing out, we might not even have to play Miami.
Well, you're gonna have to play somebody.
We're gonna have to play somebody.
Play Miami, Kansas City,
or the one that was able to beat.
There's a bunch of teams. Listen, all we know is that
I feel like we're gonna get matched up with the Bills.
There's a long season ahead of us still. There's 7 games that have been played. We still have another 11. Like there is a good amount of football to be played.
Yeah, there's a universe to be seen.
So we don't have to exactly. Like double up what everybody is now is not going to be the record. Like people are going to have 3 more losses than what they have now. Like no losses compared to the 3 losses they have now. If you double up the record, like bro, like we have a long season to go. So we don't know what the Dolphins are going to be. Does Tua stay healthy? We don't know if the Cincinnati Bengals are actually going to become the Bengals again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like. Right. Do we know if the Chargers are ever going to become the Chargers? Are they going to become the Sparks, like for real? Like, there's a lot of questions. Do the Jaguars reach full potential? Do the Chiefs continue to be the best team in the AFC year in and year out, no matter who's there, offensive coordinator, wide receiver? Yeah, as long as Kelsey and Mahomes are there, like, they're good. Like, like, come on. Like, there's a lot of questions to still be answered in this short season. There's a long season left.
Absolutely. We'll have to see how this all shakes out. I just think that the Jaguars, like I said, these motherfuckers aren't even playing up to their potential. That offense is nowhere near where it should be.
Yeah. Y'all look like fucking the Jacksonville House Cats.
5-2 though. Despite that.
Yep. The House Pumas.
Ant, we're gonna kick
Washington
this
Monday.
off with you.
All right. So to start off fucking the overhyped segment, excuse my language, we're gonna start off with I think the most overhyped team going into the week. The Dolphins. So I have a quick breakdown here of their game against the Eagles. And this is not being a homer. I think after you look at every game this week and you look at what happened, the Dolphins scored 17 points, but in reality, it was 7 offensive points off of their own drive, 3 off of a field goal, which was short yardage, which was already in field goal range, which they didn't move the ball much to score a touchdown. So again, gifted 3 points. And then 7 was off a pick 6. The Eagles scored 31 points. We had 1 turnover. And if I'm not mistaken, that 1 turnover led to 3 points. So we still scored 4 touchdowns off of our own drive. We outdid them in yards by 111 yards. Passing yards, we outdid them by 60. Rushing yards, we outdid them by almost double. They had 45, we had 99. We had 26 first downs. The big one here, 0 penalties. They had 10. So kind of like what we were talking about earlier with the refs. If you go back and look at the game, there was definitely some calls that you could have called on the Eagles, probably a couple more that you could have called on Miami as well. But again, these refs undefeated for the season. We had more turnovers, and usually when you lose a turnover battle, you lose the game. We had less sacks, but we did have most plays, and we controlled the ball. So overall, I think maybe we gave a blueprint to the NFL on how to stop the Dolphins. From going from a game where they scored 70 points to holding them to 7, or let's just call it 10 offensive points. I think that we did a hell of a job. I think they've been overhyped the whole season. I think that when certain teams and certain players, as in this is a quarterback league and we always happen to draw the quarterback. For example, we're just going to use Jalen here. Jalen will get criticized for beating a team less of value, but certain team players and teams will beat 5 teams that have a combined record of going into the game this week 5 wins in total. Okay, not just 5 wins each, 5 wins in total, but nobody gives, everyone bypassed that for the Dolphins. So it's kind of funny how certain teams get luxuries that other teams don't, but we kind of shut them down. And I think Sean Desai has been really making his imprint. And side note for the overhype, if you really want to bring it back and you really want to overhype things, if we had Sean Desai in the Super Bowl and we still had our same offensive coordinator, we win that Super Bowl. If we have Sean Desai right now and we still have Shane Steichen right now, we probably are still undefeated and we're working at a way higher clip than we are. But Sean Desai is a baller, and he has our defense balling out.
All right. Does anybody have any commentary on anything that Ant said, or anybody have a different overhype they want to address?
I'm gonna push back on the idea that the Dolphins are overhyped just a little bit. They were, or still are, one of the scariest offenses in the NFL. They're a team that's really predicated on their speed. But one thing that I think we see time and time again in the NFL is that power beats speed every time. And this is why I picked the Eagles to win this game. I think that's why a lot of people pick the Eagles to win this game, is because we win the game in the trenches. And Miami, with the explosive plays, is really what they became used to. And we were able to mitigate those explosive plays, which kind of boxed in their offense. I think they're still going to continue to be a good team. I think there's another really impressive win or two that they got in them throughout the rest of the season. I just think they ran into, a formidable team. I mean, the Eagles are probably have the best offensive and defensive line in the league. So I think a lot of it was just a bad matchup for Miami. The most overhyped team that I saw last week was 1,000% the Detroit Lions, because holy shit, they got ran out the damn stadium.
Damn.
I didn't expect them to lay an
Didn't
egg
see
the way
that.
they did. You look up and it was 28-0
Off the
in
rip.
an instant, off rip, so in
Poor
just
guy.
a collective collapse. I mean, my goodness, the defense looked terrible. Jared Goff looked terrible. Just systematically a failure on Detroit. Now, again, call it a bump in the road, call it one of those, bury the film games, right, where you just say, hey, let's chalk it up to a bad
Burn them
week.
and move on. Right? Burn the tapes.
All of the hype and all of the positive things coming out of Detroit up until that game, it was just really surprising to see them perform the way they did.
Kenny, do you have anything to add in anything anybody said, or do you have an overhyped team?
It wouldn't make you happy if I had said who I think an overhyped team is. They're on a 4-game win streak. They're leading their division at 6.8 yards a throw. They're the second in their division of points forced, second in division of points allowed. That would be the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think if anybody is overhyped right now, it's sitting at 5-2, like looking pretty. You're on a 4-game win streak. A couple of those were out of the country. So, but 6.8 coming from with a team that has a quarterback that's throwing about 5.3, some shit. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you're getting it done. You're getting the wins, but I think that 49ers game could be a make or break, I think, on the season, depending on how you look at it against the teams that you will potentially play in the playoffs. I think are going to be a really telltale between the 49ers and the Ravens game. I think are going to be really make or break this year, especially for Dougie P and what Trevor's trying to do. I think as a collective, it's going to be put to the test for hell. But of course, that's my AFC team. Of course, I'll always cheer for you. But I think looking at the standings and looking at the points forced, against, I think that they have.
That's skewed by
the only hold
one
in the
bad game.
That's understandable. Hey, I get it. And if you don't look at stats, it's going to be skewed. I completely get that. But I think.
Can we be real for a second?
I mean, I'm trying to be
Jags,
as an 0-6 team. I feel like I can't really say who's overhyped, but
the Jags are kind of like the Lions. Like nobody really takes them
feel-good team.
Yet.
But
so okay, or if nobody takes us seriously, then how can we be overhyped?
Because we hear you talk about it all the time, so like we hear the hype.
Personally,
and the media talks about you guys and Trevor Lawrence.
Lawrence gets
over
a
and
lot
over.
of love,
And I feel like
everything that everybody's been saying about Trevor Lawrence this year are these like people that aren't watching the games. They're saying, "Oh, Richard Sherman's like, I don't see it." Chris Broussard, I don't see it. The only people that are really hyping up Trevor Lawrence.
Broussard is an NBA analyst.
Nick Wright.
Yeah,
He's the only one talking about the prince that was promised.
Oh my gosh.
everyone has talked about the promised man over here.
Listen, all right.
He just needs to focus on doing the little things right more consistently.
But he's doing that. You guys don't watch the games.
Lies.
Bro,
need
don't
that
tell me I
login.
don't watch the games because I'm not watching every play 4 times like you are, bro. I watch the game and I trust my eyes. I watch a lot of football, bro. Like he makes shit too hard on himself sometimes. It's just what it is. Like you might not want to hear the feedback because he's your golden boy.
No. In our chat,
Someone calls him Trevor Wentz.
No, okay, dude.
Again, man, like he has a bit of a hero complex.
He kicked him backstage.
There's just no need for any kind of comments like that. That's just beyond blasphemy. Listen, okay.
Oh, you move my boy, yo, bring my boy back.
No, you say fucking Trevor Wentz, bro. You're staying back there for a minute.
He put it back there like he's a father.
Again, like I see where his point is coming from. Only because hold on, before you boot me too, only because Carson Wentz, a part of his problem was he was always trying to make the big play, not the right play. I see some of that in
and
Trevor.
That's not happening. When we get into the group chat, I'm going to need you to post some examples because that's not happening.
He misses easy throws that he shouldn't be missing.
I need evidence.
He makes shit harder for him.
I need evidence because it's not happening.
You're a bitch.
Sure, a little bit here and there, but it's not happening any more than any of the other top QBs. I don't want to hear it.
Trevor Lawrence is fucking trash.
Overhyped.
I'm not comparing him to anybody else. I was just speaking on Trevor since we were talking about it.
Trevor Lawrence,
has flaws.
Justin Herbert, they're the same person. They fucking stink.
That's not even remotely true.
Fucking overhyped stink bags.
Although Trevor on
Justin
on
Herbert
the
got
Chargers
a bazooka arm, man.
I don't care. So does Trevor Lawrence, and they both are overhyped pieces of shit. They both stink. They both.
So, what I was going to say about overhyped, I'm going to go with the 49ers. The 49ers, to me, are the most overhyped team. All right?
Sam Darnold's about to rip it up.
Dude, Brock Purdy really is the most overhyped for me, I guess. So I guess I'm going more for him than the team because that defense is still legit. Right. When they're healthy, that team is still legit. But Brock Purdy ain't it. He's just doing enough to keep them competitive. And that. So we're just gonna keep doing this, aren't we? This dude just wants to fucking spend all day in the penalty box today. Yeah, no. 49ers lost to a Vikings team that probably should consider selling players off, punting the season so that they can rebuild the proper way. They've been stuck in mediocrity for years. They have enough to stay competitive, but they never have enough to really go out and compete to be a Super Bowl level team. And the 49ers lost about? The Vikings.
Okay. Whew.
49ers just lost to the Vikings. 49ers have now dropped 2 straight. So they're about to play the Bengals. Bengals have not been playing well, but I could very well see them dropping 3 straight. And then they'd have to come back, and I think then that's when they play the Jaguars after that. Coming off 3 straight losses. Will be interesting. But they are my most overhyped team. I just don't believe in Brock Purdy. I think he's a game manager, and he's done a good job. And Kyle Shanahan's done a good job of hiding his flaws. But Debo gets hurt. CMC's dealing with an oblique. Trent Williams leaves the game. Things start happening like that. Brock Purdy starts playing a little more average or below average.
Normal pedestrian a little bit.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. So we're going to do a quick little recap because we've already kind of touched on a bunch of our teams. Kenny, you had a bye week this week, so you're gonna just quickly...
no loss, baby.
I don't know.
Let's go.
I don't know. Do you think the Panthers roster gets any slimmer by the trade deadline, or?
I think Chin was the only one that really was standing out to me outside of maybe Burns if we don't get a deal done by the deadline. But if Brian stays true to what he believed at the beginning of the year, he's not talking about the contract, throughout the year. He's with his guys, which is another reason why we should have given him the money he deserved in the beginning. I think Burns is, like I said, once again, is that guy that we need. So, I mean, putting on wax that's Burns. He needs to be in a Carolina jersey. Like, they need to make it happen. They've made too many mistakes in the front office so far that it's beyond. I don't want to say beyond repair because it's definitely repairable, but they're in the potential of putting us back 3 to 5 years. I mean, with the end of this year, depending on how they end that trade deadline, depending on how they work the draft. I mean, it could start with Surtain. It could start with letting Hassan Reddick go. I mean, seriously, it could start with letting Reddick go, re-signing Matos, re-signing fucking Robbie Anderson. I don't mean to put the curse on his name, but it's like we've nitpicked these little things that wasn't going to help us. Reddick and Burns was a hell of a 1-2, which was way worth the money. I think it was a huge mistake. I think the Surtain pick could have been there. I understand they wanted to make the big move, but
Horn hasn't
it wasn't
played.
the smartest one. The best ability is availability.
You got a guy that's got
to
a
be on the field.
level close to Surtain, but can't stay on the field.
I love JC. I think skill level, when he is on the field, he produces. He generates this energy on the field that everybody kind of surrounds with him. It didn't pan out so far with how his health is turned around. But I'm a hopeful. Thomas Davis, I mean, the man's, we've seen it as Panther fans. So it's like we want to hold that hope. It's just, obviously get well. He's hopefully right now. The last thing that we heard was he is a couple of minutes. He could be 1 or 2 minutes behind, which doesn't mean anything to us. Like he's probably going to miss a couple more weeks is what we're understanding. But of course, I hope he gets better. But, at bye week, you hit this, it's like we have to get a win somewhere. And it would be really nice to be able to show out in front of,
Hey, I'd love if you guys got a win this week.
That would be nice to take Houston.
Be nice. Yeah,
be
nice.
Beat Houston. It'd be helpful for you as well.
You got a score prediction for your team there this week against the Texans?
17-14. I think we get our first win. I really believe it. I think it's going to come down to it, but I think it'll be 17-14.
All right. So we are going to stop talking about the worst team in the league.
The base, yeah.
And we are going to talk about...
Let's go upstairs. Let's start talking about
just said the best team in the league. That would have been fine from worse.
You're right.
The
just
best.
Nothing big.
Go ahead, Trey.
Yes, sir.
I already said enough on my my little
share, like,
part.
and subscribe.
So go ahead.
Click that notification bell for all
Trey?
new episodes of
it's
Healing
on
Podcast.
me.
And kick the mic to you.
Oh, my bad.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, bro.
No, can Dre not hear me?
I can hear you.
There's no snare in my
okay.
headphones.
Oh.
Chill out, Marshall Mathers.
Yeah, no, so my takeaways from our game against the Dolphins, I mean, I touched on it a lot earlier. I think we just showed to be the more physical team. I think that's why we won handily. Also, just a couple of my takeaways. I thought offensively, I was very encouraged from what I saw in the passing game, especially considering the game before where we, I think, had 4 turnovers in that game, 3 interceptions. And instead of coming out timid and playing conservative, we just pedaled to the metal and stayed aggressive. So that was very, very encouraging to see. I love the connection that AJ and Jalen Hurts have had. AJ stayed on a tear, another game, 125 plus yards. Dallas Goedert, it was tight end day, and I think tight ends throughout the league showed out, but I love to see Dallas Goedert really get involved. He hadn't been too involved too much going into that game. And our run game was, effective, but it was So just another way that we could win football games. So that's an overall positive takeaway, is that we just find different ways to win each and every week. You see the offense kind of clicking and getting a little bit more in rhythm. So again, the Eagles aren't a team that's playing to blow teams out in September and October. Our goals are to be deeper into the winter, playing games in January and hopefully February, right? So I love to see the progression that we're making on the offensive side of the ball. Defensively, we've been pretty solid. I think Desai has found his groove with the team. I think landing Byard is going to be absolutely huge for us, having that veteran presence back there. That was really the one hole we had on our defense, and we just solved it. And then also that even gives us more depth as well. And we are a very deep team. So we're built very well. We're doing all of the right things. So far so good. But again, like as a fan and seeing where we got to last year and falling short, like I just want to make sure that we stay grounded and we continue to search and find ways to get better each and every week. Now we have a tough test coming up. We play the Commanders. Now you might say, hey, it's the Commanders. Why is that a tough test? But look,
Division
historically,
rival.
they play us tough all the time. Yeah, division rival. But we beat the shit out of the Giants when we play them. The Commanders always play us tough. So last game we played them, it took overtime, right? It was 31-34, I believe. So this time around, I expect more of a lower scoring affair, but I expect it to be close. I'm thinking something more like 20-17.
20-17. And surprised you didn't pick the Commanders. And what are you going to lock in for a prediction against the Commanders this week?
I ain't even gonna pick a score. I just got a dub because, like I said earlier, I don't even want to say that we're gonna win by 10 or 4. Honestly, if we win by 3, that's probably where it's about to be. Commanders always play us
low
tough.
scoring.
It could just be, last game was high scoring. So if the NFL tells us anything, very few times does it go back to back like that because people are going to bet that. So it's probably going to be low scoring. We're going to win 21-17.
21-17. All right. Jaguars play the Steelers this week.
How you see that one turning out?
31-14 Jaguars. We play the Steelers very, very, very well, especially when we go to Pittsburgh. We always dominate in Pittsburgh. When Ben Roethlisberger threw 5 interceptions and he had that post-game press conference where he was fucking deciding whether or not he was going to retire mid-season, that was a game in Pittsburgh. We are the only team in NFL history to go into Pittsburgh twice in the same season and beat Pittsburgh twice. We did it in 2007. We did it in 2017. We're going to play Pittsburgh and Pittsburgh again, and we're going to dominate them. That is one team that we always play well. 31-14. Kenny Pickett is trash.
So you're saying I should bet my entire FanDuel balance on the Jaguars this week?
Do it.
Put your house up as collateral.
There we go.
He says a done deal.
All right, so we are gonna move on to our pick'ems and our upsets of the week here. We're gonna do this real quick. Dre, start us off with your pick'ems.
You want me to run down each and every team?
Just kind of pick out your upsets, like your surprise picks.
So surprise picks, one thing I learned about the NFL is there is a few games every week that just don't make no damn sense. So don't necessarily ask me for logic as to why I think some of these teams are going to win, but it's just what the NFL tells us. So I have Where's my first upset? So I have the Browns beating the Seahawks, which the Seahawks are favored right now. Not sure why it's so skewed, but I do have the Browns winning. I have
Must be in Seattle.
Yeah.
It is. But
I
still.
also have the Bengals beating the Niners. But I'm iffy about that one just because the Niners have lost 2 straight. I don't know. I don't really know that they're going to lose 3 straight. So I'm iffy about that one. But I also have the Cardinals beating the Ravens for really no reason. Bird on bird crime, and the Ravens just had an impressive win.
All right. Kenny, what do you got for upsets?
Let's see here. Who I had? I pretty much went down the board, but the one I did, I thought the Saints could pull out for the Colts. I don't know why.
You went green beans all the way down except for that one?
Basically, yeah, like followed suit throughout the majority, and then I had the bet on the Panthers as well.
Okay.
Yeah, I really didn't go against the grain outside of the Panthers and the Saints. I feel like the Saints.
Some NFC South confidence this week.
Not too bad. Which is weird.
Okay.
It kind of feels bad betting on them, but fuck it.
And what you got?
All right, I got a couple, I think. I got Rams over the Cowboys, and that's a big skew. I'm gonna have the Vikings. The Falcons. By my God, Jesus Christ, I can't speak.
You're
The
doing good.
Falcons
About to
over
fall
the
asleep.
Titans. Thank you. Yeah. That's good. The other one would be the same as Dre. Browns over the Seahawks. I think that is definitely skewed. And then the next biggest one is going to be the Bengals. The Bengals definitely. I don't see Sam Darnold coming in and just whipping up like he ain't skip a beat. You know, everyone talks about layovers and this and that. I can't see Sam Darnold, who's already trash, just coming in here
Right.
and beating a decent Bengals team. I mean, they're not trash. They're not terrible. They're good. So, I mean, they're going to be one of the better teams in the AFC when it's all said and done. But for some reason, like Dre's always said, they start slow, and that's it.
Do you think the duo
Even
of
though Ammo
Darnold and
disagrees.
McCaffrey, like playing together, like they've had reps, multiple reps, like
Yeah,
like
and
McCaffrey and Darnold,
guess
like
what?
that could be.
Guess what? Y'all fucking sucked with them.
No, I agree. I'm just saying, but with the 49ers and them having some type of like rapport together, do you think that has any type of impact
think-
versus?
A 100% healthy Sam Darnold and a 100% healthy Christian McCaffrey on the Panthers is going to be more than a half Christian McCaffrey on the 49ers and a less than half, I would say, right now, coming in fucking cold in week 8, less than half Sam Darnold. I'm going to take the Panthers version over this one, and I think they suck.
Fair.
I could be wrong, and I'll eat that, but it's fine.
Why is he cold?
I like it.
What do you mean? Why is he cold? He hasn't played an NFL game in how long?
How many NFL games have Tyson Bagert played?
Okay, so it doesn't matter. You're going to bring off some random player that comes in and has a good game. I'm just going off of what I know from Sam Darnold, and he's coming in cold, and I'm going to bet on that over whatever guy you just said.
All right. I went with quite a few upsets this week.
Yeah, really.
Yes. I think I have 5. I went with the Falcons over the Titans, the Saints over the Colts. I had a lot of NFC South love this week. I have the Panthers over the Texans.
First win.
Oh, wow. Look at that. The AFC South and the NFC South are all playing each other except for the Jaguars and the Buccaneers.
Yeah, you're not low with what you're doing. All division foes are taking L's this week.
That's all it is. That's
Look
all
at that
it is.
You're the guy. Yo,
fucking-
you
Let's
can't
figure out
rely on this
exactly
guy.
what to
Yo,
do.
you can't rely on Ammo to do anything out of straight, just real NFL like mindset. This guy's always got an
There's a
alter plan
motive to
behind
it. Yeah.
everything
No, all
that
right,
he
all right.
picks. No. No, Ammo, you're not about to swindle your way out of this. Everything you pick
See the
as an
smile.
alternative
It started.
motive to it. Okay, the reason why I'm picking this guy to beat this guy is
All right.
because if they win, that means the Jaguars become second in the AFC.
Listen,
and
listen.
don't start with your shit, bro. We
I
have the
know
first round
how
bye.
I
I'm
know
with.
how
The
this
season ended
looks.
today.
I am going to be 100% honest with you guys. I was going through
Yeah,
this.
you're trash.
I am picking these picks with the intent that I want to beat all three of you motherfuckers at the end of the year with the highest score. So I'm not going to intentionally make a
Keep
pick
it
in my
up.
pick'ems to fucking screw me
Keep it
over just to
up.
say fuck the AFC South. Not gonna happen. I was
That's
going
why
through
you're
these
in
picks.
second.
I had made these picks. I didn't even realize
What
that
is
I
the weave
bet
exactly?
against the AFC South in every
crazy
single
ass.
matchup. I didn't really realize that until I'm going through it now. Like I know I made my picks and I looked at them and made my decisions, but I really didn't realize what I
you're
did.
drinking haterade.
Yeah.
That's
My
it.
other
Oh my God,
upsets,
you're right.
my other upsets that I have this week, besides the three NFC South teams beating out the AFC South, I also have the Browns beating the Seahawks and the Bengals beating the Niners as well. So I guess we're all kind of like on that page. So how much of an upset is it really if we all kind of pick it? But that's what we got. Is it 14%?
Well,
So they don't really give the Bengals much of a shot to win that one.
this is the real thing. Fuck what that thing says. I'm about to
Well,
check
yeah, because
Vegas.
obviously we know more than what anybody else knows. So
No. I'm checking Vegas.
The whole reason we're doing this.
I was just
I
waiting
mean-
for Ammo to be like, my upset of the week is the Jaguars. It's not really an upset, but I just really think.
why would I
I was
insult
just
my
waiting.
why would I
Play them.
why would I insult my team and say that they're an upset against the fucking Steelers and Kenny Pickett, dude? That's just downright
Because
disrespectful.
It's
Bro,
Kenny
You
Powers.
want as much Jaguars publicity as possible. That's why.
bro, I am not
All right. So
ever
right now the
gonna
San
put the Jaguars underneath Kenny Pickett and that Steelers team. Not gonna happen. I
Sa-
won't do it.
San Francisco
Pick
is
it top.
negative 3.5.
Mm.
So they're still favored to win the game. The Cincinnati Bengals are plus 140 on the money line. The point spread 3.5, obviously, like I just said, and the over under 43.5. So they're actually picking the 49ers to still win that game.
Of course.
So this Yahoo is just calling it different. So these Yahoo, things, I guess
The Yahoo.
these numbers must go. I wonder if these numbers go off of who's actually bet through the Yahoo app. Or
I'm
who's
pretty
picked,
sure it's just
not
a
bet.
percentage of other people on that app who Yahoo have picked
From
those
what
teams.
they've picked, right? Right.
Yeah.
So
So it has nothing to do with
Yeah, well,
betting lines or standings. It's just what
Right,
other people
or-
like us are doing.
it literally, it literally is just popular vote. Okay.
Mhm.
All right. I think that's probably just about gonna wrap this show
wrap
up
it
for the
up.
night. Anybody got any final thoughts that they would like to get out there before we go into week 8?
Eagles.
Jalen Carter was a very great pick for the Eagles. Very good pick.
Very
Well,
Yeah.
anytime that you can
Thank
get the
you,
best
everybody
player in
else
the
in the
draft at,
NFL.
number 10 overall, can't beat it.
9.
Good day.
9, whatever it was.
Who's counting?
They had to
going
trade
down.
up from 10 to 9. Okay.
That's true. That's true. All right. Well, it's been another episode of the Bro Stop Yelling podcast. Like, comment, subscribe. We'll be
Hit
back
that
next week.
notification bell so you know when every new episode airs. That one.
There it is.
Bing.
Jesus Christ, Kenny.
Are you not entertained?